Hi everyone, it's me, Miss Branch, the art teacher, and today's lesson is about organic shapes. Now, you just watched a video talking about geometric and organic shapes. And in our last lesson, we learned about making geometric and geometric shapes when we made our rectangles, triangles, squares, and circles. But guess what? The whole shape of the alligator, even though it's made out of geometric shapes, becomes an organic shape because it is a shape of something from nature. Now, organic shapes can be made by man or they could be made in nature. Those are shapes that just are free and formed with nice curving and sometimes straight lines. All right, I'm going to switch my camera so we can get started on our project. All right, so let me bring this in. So we are going to paint today, but before we're going to paint, we're going to draw some organic flowers. Now you're going to have 2 sheets of paper. And actually, before we start that, one of these sheets of paper, we only need half of it. So I'm going to fold my paper in half. Give it a good crease. And see that line? You will need your scissors to cut that line. So this piece, we don't need for the rest of this project. So put this back with all your other papers when you're done. So now we have a half a sheet and a whole sheet. Now, on this whole sheet, we're going to draw our organic flowers with our black crayon. And what we're going to do, let me see, make sure it's all in the screen. There we go. So what we're going to do, I see we can start with, we'll start with a geometric shape, like a circle. And it's okay if it's not a perfect circle. That'll help it be even more of a geometric shape. Organic, not geometric. I'm sorry, everyone. All right, so now I'm just going to make a free waving line and come back. Now, even though I just made a line, because it touched the side of my circle, it actually becomes a shape. If you leave the lines open, meaning it doesn't touch, it's not a shape. Even if it's that little teeny tiny bit of space, it's not a shape if the lines don't touch. So now I'm going to make another petal. And you can just make it up as you go because we're making geometric shapes. We're making organic shapes. We started with a geometric kind of shape, and now we're just making organic shapes. And you can make it however you want, as big or as small. So now I'm going to scoot over, and I'm going to do another one. Like I said, I did a circle. I think I'll stick with circles. Let's see. This time when I make my organic shape, I'm going to add some straight lines into it. So let me start out straight, make it not so straight, and straight. You can add straight lines, and sometimes when you add straight lines, it is called a free form, which still means organic shape. And so now I have 2 flowers made with organic shapes. Oops, look, right here. I'm gonna bring the camera in really, really close. My line doesn't touch, so technically this is not a shape. So I have to go back and make sure it touches. The lines have to what? Touch. If it doesn't touch, it's not a shape. So I have a little bit of space here. So I made these ones kind of big. So I'll make this one small. I'll make this small kind of organic shape. Looks like a jelly bean. Ah. And I'm going to make my petals. Now these ones I did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I can add 1, 3. I'm gonna add one more. So this one has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have my organic shaped flowers. And you know the cool thing is, my flowers, the outside of the whole shape of all these shapes touching is an organic shape. Now, we learned how to mix colors in our very first project when we did the line project. And so we learned how to mix the colors on the tempera cakes. Now, what we need to do is make sure you have all of your supplies. So I'm going to bring it up, and you need your water basin and your paintbrush. I'm going to move the crayon out the way. You need your tempera cakes. And we're only going to worry about the primary colors right now. And you need your blotter. Sorry, Miss Branch knocked over her juice. All right. So I have my blotter, and I can open it up because you know we need to clean off the tempera cakes before we start our next one. So I have my blotter, and this is where this extra paper comes in handy. Let's see if I can raise up just a little more and get more in the screen. Let's see. Yes, I guess it's just gonna have to, I'll just move it over when you guys need to see. All right, so there. So now I'm going to start with my primary colors, and I'm going to paint the centers of my flowers the primary colors. So I'm going to start with some yellow, and I am gently touching the bristles to the paint. And I'm just going to paint the inside of the center of my flower. Now, before you rinse off your bristles, you're going to take your other half sheet, and whatever's left in the brush, paint some lines or even some organic shapes all over your paper. Then rinse. So I have some here, and I'm going to rinse, sweeping across the ridges. Wipe the bristles. Never tap, because remember, if you tap, water and paint will splash everywhere. So wipe on the edges. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my next color, which I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of blue. And now I'm going to paint my next center of my flower. And before I rinse off the bristles, I'm going to take what's in my bristles and just paint some more organic spaces. And if it mixes with the yellow that's already on here, even the better, because that'll be really looking cool. And so now I'm going to rinse out my bristles. Again, sweeping across the ridges. But if you don't have, if you have a cup, you can switch it around. And again, even with a cup, wipe on the edges. And now my last primary color, which is red. Let me pick up some red. And now I'm going to paint my last center of my flower. 1, 2, 3. Red, yellow, blue. And but before I finish, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to add some red onto my paper. I can even mix it with the colors a little bit that's on here if there's still some wet spots. And now I'm going to put this back to the side and bring my picture back in. And so now I'm going to, I'm going to paint my flowers the complementary colors. Now, complementary colors are colors that are opposite on the color wheel. Yes, that is so cool. So complementary colors, let's see, on the color wheel, you have red, yellow, and blue. And the complementary color is the color that is right opposite of it. I have a color wheel here, but this is a big kids color wheel because it has the intermediate colors too, which we'll learn about in first grade. But right now, yellow, blue, red, they're squares. The complementary color is right across from them in a square. So the complementary of blue is orange. The complementary of yellow is purple. And the complementary of red is green. So now I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I want to start with my yellow flower. So I see on this chart, I have to make purple. Now, when we made purple before, we took a little bit of blue and mixed it on our red. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue and I'm going to mix it on my red. And now I have my purple. And here we go. I can paint my purple organic flowers. Now, it's okay if you go outside the lines that you drew, because in part 2, we're going to cut these out. So don't worry about it if you go outside the lines. Cool. I ended up with some red violet because I didn't get more blue to mix in. But now my next step I have to do before I can do anything else is take my blotter and wet it just a little corner and squeeze out the extra and clean off that blue off because I don't want the colors to stay mixed up and then I can't use them later. So now let's go to the next one. Okay, I have a red flower right here and the complementary of red, the square across from it, is green. So I need to rinse out my bristles, wipe the extra water off, pick up some more blue, and mix that with my yellow. And now I have my green. Oh, Miss Branch forgot to go back to our extra paper to put the extra violet that I had on here. Oh, it's okay. I'll remember this time. All right, so now I'm going to paint my green. And pick up some more green. And again, it's okay if you go out the lines because we're going to cut these out for part 2 of our project. All right. So now I'm going to, I did it again, but guess what? I still have a little bit of green here left. I'm going to pick that up with that water. I almost forgot to go back to the other part. We're going to need this for part 2. That's why we're putting it on here. All right, now I can put my brush in the water and I can dip my another corner into the water, squeeze out some of the extra and wipe off. There we go. And so now I'm ready for my last complementary color. And my last complementary color for blue is orange. So I need to mix some red with my yellow to make my orange. So now, wipe off the extra. I'm going to pick up some red. And now I'm going to take it on the yellow and turn it into orange. And now I'm going to paint the petals on my last organic flower. And I'm going to take some of this extra up and I'm going to paint in some of the spots I still have on my paper. All right. So now this piece of paper that I have put the colors on is what we would call an abstract painting. Abstract means that it does not have to be anything abstract. You can do an abstract painting or drawing with just shapes or colors or a bit of line, all kinds of things. Now, before I forget, I need to get a new corner on my cloth and wet it a little bit, squeeze out the extra, and now clean off the red because I don't want to stain my tempera cakes and then I won't have them for future projects. And so now I can put that off to the side. So now you have, I'm gonna move this out the way, your abstract art and your organic flowers. Now they have to dry for the next part of the project, but I'm going to give you a sneak preview because I have one that I'm done. Look, everyone, we're going to make some organic flowers and our abstract art is going to become a vase and our flowers are going to be cool and we're going to make a still life. And we'll talk about the still life some more in the next video. So let me switch my camera. All right, everyone. I will see you in the next video when we're finishing up our still life picture and we're making our organic flowers in an organic shape, symmetrical vase on our papers. And I will see you then. All right, bye.